National Security Advisor Susan Rice raising some eyebrows, to say the least, with her first comments about Benghazi in months. During an interview on CBS's 60 Minutes, Rice sort of dismissed the fallout over the attack, which killed 4 Americans, including our ambassador, and defended the administration's talking points response. Take a listen.
I don't have time to think about a false controversy. In the midst of all of the swirl about things like talking points, the administration has been working very, very hard across the globe to review our security of our embassies and our facilities. That's what we ought to be focused on.
KT McFarland is a Fox News national security analyst, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense during the Reagan administration, sounding very much, Susan Rice, last night on 60 Minutes, like Hillary Clinton in her famous soundbite in front of the Congressional Committee when she said, "What difference does it make?"
You know, it's like, I got my story and I'm sticking to it despite what the evidence says. Greg, I watched that interview last night and I was stunned. Why was she doing this?
Yeah.
They have nothing to talk about. There are no great foreign policy successes, only failures. And in fact, the majority of the interview was about her as a working mom. Now,
right.
I'm a mother. I have 5 kids. I understand the juggle act. But what she should have done was have an interview only if she has stuff to talk about that she's achieved success.
And on the substantive stuff, she really got hammered.
Zero.
And then they sort of reverted to, well, Henry Kissinger sat in this office. You knew Henry Kissinger.
I knew that office. I would go to that office every single day for 7 years. I know Henry Kissinger. I worked for Henry Kissinger. When she said I'm a pragmatist like Henry Kissinger, I said Henry Kissinger. She's no Henry Kissinger. Yeah. You know, Henry Kissinger at this point had Middle East peace negotiations, the first ever. Arms control agreements. He had ended the Vietnam War, opening to China. What do they have? Benghazi, which is a disaster, Syria, which they had to be bailed out of, Iran, which they're claiming is a great success, but that is an incomplete at best.
Oh, and they're arguably still stonewalling on Benghazi, at least critics say that. Yeah. Here's another soundbite of Susan Rice. Take a listen.
She had just gone through an incredibly painful and stressful week. Secretary Clinton, as our chief diplomat, had to reach out to the families, had to greet the bodies upon their arrival at Andrews Air Force Base. If I were her, the last thing I would have wanted to do is 5 Sunday morning talk shows.
So that was her explanation as to why Hillary Clinton didn't do the 5 Sunday talk shows, and she did it instead because Hillary Clinton was too busy and she was actually exhausted from consoling the families and misrepresenting to the families what really happened, the truth of it.
You know, I was on this show the Monday after those interviews on the 5 shows, and I said, there's something really weird here, because as ambassador to the United Nations, Susan Rice had no responsibility for embassy security. She had no responsibility for terrorism. So why was she out there? And I had gone to check the schedules of Secretary Clinton, head of the CIA, secretary. They were all in town. They all could have done the interview. She should have smelled a rat when she was sent to talk with those talking points to go out, and it actually has just cratered her career.
Hillary Clinton told those families that their loved ones died because of a YouTube video, and she was going to go after the producer. We now have evidence that arguably she knew that just wasn't true at all. KT McFarland, good to see you. Thank you very much.
And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.